What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video, another day, another dollar. And we're going to be breaking down the futures contract. And while we're doing such, we'll look at Tesla as well, give you a little bit of an update on what my swing trade position is looking like. As we had a little bit of a scare today, however, ES and triple Qs all at the all-time highs today. ES, NASDAQ, all of them across the board at the all-time highs. We just need a Russell to get up there. We need the Dow Jones to get up there, and this bull market can really get to moving again towards the end of year target that I have up here at 59.50. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. Don't want to spend too much time. Monthly is firmly one time framing up. All right, one time framing up. That just clearly means we're setting higher highs and higher lows. All right, so back in April, we took out the previous month's low and put ourselves into a balance. We stayed within a 2-month balance. Last month, the month of May, we took out that balance high, which was March's high. Okay, we took out that 53.22.75 level. We took that out, but we came back in. So for me, I was saying that the monthly might have just been slightly stretched. Others, one time framing up. But for me, you know, I wanted to see a little bit more continuity, and so far we're getting that by obviously taking out last month's high, which was 53.58.25, and setting all-time highs today, new all-time highs today at 53.67. So monthly is firmly one-time framing up. Now, what we'd like to see is good extension. You see how we had good extension here above this month's high, right? That monthly high back in November of last year was 45.97. And then from there to the next high in December was 48.39. So from 59 or 597 to 839, 300 points to the upside. Pretty good extension there that month. Pretty good extension there. Pretty good extension there, right? So far, we just haven't really had that extension to the upside like we had back on these few months here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4 months of really good one-time framing up. And we'd like to really resume that in order for this bull market to, you know, have some strong legs beneath it. So that is the monthly. Weekly also one time framing up now. All right, weekly is also now one time framing up as it took out that balance high, right? That monthly high, weekly high was also the weekly balance high, and we took that out firmly today. You could say it's slightly stretched if you'd like, but I'm going to give the buyers their due and say that the monthly and the weekly are both up, one time framing up. So now we'd like to see good extension above this and a hold above 53.58.25. If we can do that and get good extension, you know, this thing could really continue to roll to the upside. Now, volume, on the other hand, volume has been a bit of just non-existent. Volume on these days just have not been existing at all. However, even with the low volume does not mean that we cannot continue to make new highs and grind up higher, as that's been the case the last several times we've made a new high on the year. Our daily now firmly one time framing up, okay? Came out of an inside day to the upside. Actually, we gapped today with an inside day to the upside, came in, filled that gap, held right just above those daily highs at 53.22. Or excuse me, 53.12, and that was where I got involved today on the long side, and I'll explain that here in a second. But very, very good, right? Whenever you have an inside day, you look for, there are two things you look for, right? You go with it and monitor for continuation or lack of, as Paul always says. And today we got really good continuation. Also getting above what I had as my balance high up here at 53.34. In yesterday's video, I stated if we could find acceptance above that 53.22 level, I think this market can really get moving to the upside and set all-time highs. And sure enough, we were correct. Now, I didn't catch the full move. I did catch a good portion of it, but I obviously left another like 27 or so points on the upside that I could have had in my back pocket had I held. But nonetheless, still made money on the day. Very happy with that. So there is our daily, weekly, and monthly, all one time framing up, meaning we are setting higher highs and higher lows. Okay, higher highs and higher lows. The trend up is beginning to resume. 20-day moving average creeping on up. 50-day moving average should start to curl back up. sooner rather than later. Now let's look at Tesla real quick. Let's look at Tesla's daily. Let's look at Tesla's daily real quick. Okay. Tesla's been in this consolidation period for quite some time. Okay. It is squeezing back and forth between the 20 and the 50-day moving average. All right. The 50-day moving average is sitting at 172.15. The 20-day moving average at 176.07. Sooner rather than later, this has to pop somewhere. All right. Whether it's to the downside or to the upside, it's got to go. Right. So for me, it is very, very important. Very, very important for my long position that we pop out of this to the upside, get above the 20-day moving average, and break above the balance areas here. However, if we get below this low here, if we get below the 16th of May 16th low of 171.43, I'm out of that trade. I will stop out of the trade, take the loss, and look for another position to get into. But right now, I think this is an excellent risk reward trade. I described it yesterday how I thought it was an excellent risk reward trade. I'm only risking a couple dollars to the downside to target these highs up here around 190, 185, right? I'm only risking a couple dollars to make 15 to 20 plus dollars on the trade. Okay, so I think that is an excellent risk reward trade. We just need this to move up. Now, NASDAQ has helped us out a lot today, right? NASDAQ pushed above their all-time high and overnight high, pushed above these levels pretty good, got through them, and set new all-time highs. So the NASDAQ is doing well, right? NASDAQ doing really well. We just need something like this Laggard here, which has been struggling to push up, maybe get a back test of the 200-day moving average up here, 211, okay? That's kind of more or less why I'm targeting the 200 calls. All right. Now, obviously, if I get stopped out, the trade idea is over, and we'll reassess and look for, maybe some short positions or long positions. But for the most part, that is what I'm looking for in Tesla. Okay. Currently down 16% on that trade. And then today, overall, made $229. In SPY, could have made significantly more had I held on, as where I bought the contracts at a $1.62, $1.85. You can see the add-on there to the Tesla call. But $1.62, $1.59, $1.85 is where I got in whenever we were pulling back on the gap fill in the in ES. Okay, also in SPY. So we had a gap today. Right, we had a gap today. My chart would let me bring it on over. So we had a gap. That gap got filled, and I was looking to get long near the gap fill. Now, obviously, options are very volatile, and I've been trading options here recently versus MES just to kind of get a little bit more oomph and a little bit more risk out there. However, as it came in and we struggled here for a little bit, premiums got 808, and I definitely could have gotten the trade cheaper had I been more patient, but I didn't know if they would fill the gap and get a nice bounce right away. But we chopped around a little bit in B period before finally moving towards the upside, where I took some off initially around the what was it, 53.37 level. I took some off initially, and then as it pushed up into 53.40, I got out of the position completely. I definitely could have held on to the position. Obviously, as those ended up trading at around $5.38 at the end of the day, would have been a really, really great trade. There was really nothing that told me to get out of this trade. We pretty much one time framed up all day long. The only time frame we didn't one time frame up in and pulled back in was F period right here. We zoom in. We had this little pullback right here, right? We took out that 38.28 or 38.25 low, set a low of 37.25, took it out by 1 point, dipped our toe into the single prints, and continued to grind up higher, where we just had another distribution to the upside and continued to push up higher and higher, just on a low volume grind to the upside. There were plenty of opportunities to get involved. On pullbacks, just was not my my kind of forte, especially if I was going to be trading options. Definitely didn't see the best risk reward within those. I think this trade, this pullback right here against 53.41 and 53.40 was the best opportunities today. Obviously, I could have got back into the trade and made a little bit on that, but there really wasn't anything for me there. But as you can see, we ate through all these upside destinations. You can see once we gapped up, we pulled back pretty aggressively, hit the 10 wide point of control, pulled back aggressively, filled the gap, held these previous days, and then rejected to get a really, really good move up to the upside and ended up with a triple distribution day to the upside, right? Yeah, triple distribution day to the upside. Very, very positive day for the buyers. We'll see what happens tomorrow. We end the day with, I want to say, a price probe, but there really wasn't much extension, right? That high there was 61.75. We hit a new high on the day at 67, so only 6 points to the upside. I like to see about 10 points or more to the upside to really call it a price probe. But other than that, really, really positive day for the buyers. I could have had a home run trade had I held on the entirety of the day through for all three contracts. I actually tried to get filled on two more. I was going to put my bid in, but when I did, I wasn't even clicking. I didn't realize I had another window popped up underneath, and I wasn't even clicking on my DOM to get long. So by the time I realized it, I was like, oh, I never even put the order in because I wasn't clicking on the proper DOM. So that is that. As far as my Apex account, took pretty nasty loss on the Apex account today. About a $950 loss on that as I was trying to trade the NASDAQ because it had a little bit more momentum and movement to the upside. And I was looking for that, but because it was so volatile and I had my stops way too close and way too tight, I just ended up losing several times in a row. So definitely NASDAQ ate my lunch today as far as the Apex account, but my account here did pretty well overall. Cannot complain. $229 is not a lot, but you add that shit up over the year, and you know it adds up. So we'll take it. High day right there at 53.67. Low day down here at 53.06.50. We have our first distribution, our upper distribution will be, where is it at? Did we have a triple? Or was it just a double? Yeah, okay. Yep. Nope, we filled. Never mind. We only end with a double distribution. We had a triple distribution. I went to see the doctor at the and had a doctor's appointment, so I didn't see the last hour of trading on the day. But we did fill that. Okay, so only a double distribution day. So we'll mark the upper distribution here. Signal prints start here at 53.37.25 and is the lower portion of the upper distribution. So signal prints fill. Boom. Or signal prints start, excuse me. Signal prints fill here at 31. So I got to readjust that. But 53.31 is where the signal prints fill and is where the lower end or the upper end of the lower distribution begins. I'm sure that sounds confusing. I will clarify here in just a second and show you guys what I'm looking for. So I'm going to highlight. Okay, get ready for the highlights. From 53.67 down to where the single prints start at 53.37.25 is your upper distribution. So the most positive thing for buyers tomorrow is to open up in this upper distribution or above it and get moving back above. Now we may consolidate between 53.37 and 53.67. And if we do that, that is still very positive because we are in the upper distribution. The lower distribution, separated by this set of single prints right here in D period, begins where they fill, which is 53.31, and they end at 53.06. Buyers do not want to open up in this range right here between 53.31 and 53.06. If they do, then obviously they gave back a lot of what they did today on this grind higher. And we may see some more choppiness and even potentially put the daily back into a balance if we take out today's low. So buyers want to open up above 53.37.25 and hold above there all day pretty much. If we can open above 53.37.25, consolidate a little bit, maybe we continue to push up higher, take out today's high, and continue setting new all-time highs on the day. Maybe we open up in the upper distribution, dip our toe into the single prints, test 53.31, and if we do not find acceptance down here, meaning we do not spend all day down here, we could reject out of it and come back up and test, as there really isn't anything in between 53.37 and 53.67. So in this 30-point range, there's nothing stopping us from pushing higher. Same thing on the downside. There's nothing stopping you from pushing lower. Once you get acceptance below 53.31, you could potentially see back below 5,300. So that is your scenario for tomorrow. Hopefully you guys understood that. Hopefully this all makes sense. And then just real quick, I do want to look at Tesla on the 30-minute time frame with you guys before we log off. Look at this consolidation, okay? You can't look at this and tell me that this does not have an opportunity to explode one way or the other, okay? Can't look at this and tell me this isn't an excellent opportunity to get long here, right? And put your stop below 170s, right? Risk a little bit on the downside to potentially break out of this consolidation and maybe go and test this poor high up here around 198, okay? Maybe even get back to the 200-day moving average. So just keep your eye on Tesla here. Obviously, we break below 172.43. You really have nothing until right around 167, and then from 167 there really isn't anything again until right around 160s, in my opinion, 162s. So we break below there. Obviously, I'm out, but hoping for the best. Maybe we'll get some movement, as this does look to be lagging a bit behind to the upside. We'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.